Hi, my name is Terry Lee, and this is video 7 in our Winter in Victoria envelope stack with a modified manila folder on the back. This should be the last video. We're going to make our manila folder. I do want to mention one thing on your envelope stack that you should have done now. You may still be decorating. You'll notice I have a ton. This is upside down, but I have a ton of little paper clips wherever I need a card, stationery, an ornament. On the Christmas ornaments, I've been backing them with construction paper on the back. They're the cutouts from when we made these covers. And so you can see all the little paper clips, or we need all the little bitty ephemera and things like that. The one thing we didn't discuss was how the heck to keep this thing closed. So on the back of your envelope stack, in the middle, this is my tie. And I thought it was cute. It's just red, white, and green string from Amazon. It wasn't that expensive, and it came in, I don't know where I put it. It came in a 2-pack. So there was a solid color, and then there was the red, green, and white. Okay, so anyway, I'll look it up and put a link below because it was very inexpensive for both. So you're gonna cut your tie in half, but I haven't done that yet. But what I want you to do and remember to do is to make a mark across the middle, or partially across the middle of the back, for where you glue your tie on, because you want to glue your tie on before you glue your manila folder on, or you're going to be in big trouble. So write tie, and before you do what we're about to do, glue your tie on. Okay, I find that Fabrifix or Fabri-Tac works the best because this is a fabric, this string, and sometimes I find it easier just to do it all the way across the back, but that's totally up to you. You can, cut it in half and just glue the little ends on. Just make sure you have enough of it in there that it's gonna stick on really well. All right, let me move this out of the way. You'll have to excuse my voice. Still have the sinus infection that we're tired of hearing about. Now, I'm going to leave the tabs on. I'm going to show you one with the tabs off as well. It makes the measurements different for the sides, but not the center, because the center, we have the 6-inch wide envelope, plus we're going to add just a smidge to each side. So what we're going to do with the envelope, or the manila folder folded in half, we're going to go in 3 1/4 inches from the center. Okay, 3 1/4 inches. I've already done this. This is the 3rd time. It's making me crazy. It's very difficult for me to do it when there's 2. Okay, now I want my tab to be on this side because I want that to be the outer closure. So I marked that I wanted the pocket, or the pocket on this end. Now our pocket is going to be 2 inches high. So we're going to go at 2 inches. If you're okay folding it in half, you can do it. Leave, with the two layers. I don't seem to be able to do it that way. Okay, so now we have a fold. It gives us our width. I just want you guys to know that I'm in shock that I got it correct this time. I have several envelopes or manila folders that I'll be putting printouts in that have incorrect creases in them. If you do it incorrectly, don't throw the manila folder away. You can just leave it with the creases in it, fold it back in half, and use it to put printouts of your kits in. It works perfectly well. Okay, so now what we basically have is it closes, and it closes like this, okay? Oh, I didn't fold it on the crease when I folded it. Okay. Now, we're going to cut one of these off with the with this being the cover. I'm trying to decide if I want to cut this one off so that we've got the pocket that folds in. Yeah, we don't want stuff falling out of the pocket. So let's go ahead and we're going to cut this off right here. So we're going to cut it from this fold, or we just made, 2 inches, and we're going to cut it all the way off, all the way over to this fold at 3 1/4. Okay. And that will give us our cover. I know that's probably a little bit off the camera, but I'm having to tip it a little bit. I have a little bit of a lazy eye, so I usually have to tip the scissors. All right, so now that's gone. And now when we have these folded up, this will fold in with the pocket, and I'll show you how to make that flat in just a second. And then our cover will fold over. Isn't that beautiful? Okay. I don't know if you can tell, but been having a little bit of a difficult time this morning. I started at 5 and it's 7:45, so. All right, now, so that we don't have so much of a bunch of stuff here, we're going to take, here's your seam from where you made your score mark. We're going to make a little tiny cut at an angle out like this on either side, and that will give us just enough room so there isn't so much there when we fold it. Just go up to this fold. Just go up to our 2-inch crease. Don't go any further. Okay, so you're going to cut. If you remember, if you made the photo album, you did this about 100 times on the envelopes. And that's not quite far enough. My coffee pot died this morning, and so I had to improvise. All right. Sometimes you'll end up with a little bitty piece. And you can just snip it off. Let me see if that's enough. I'm just having some difficulties this morning. I think maybe I should have gone and done something else for an hour and then come back. All right, there we go. So now you've got your middle, because that's going to be flat, across the back of your envelope. Then you have your left side that's going to fold in. Oh, much better. Okay, and then your right side that's going to fold over. And it's got the large tab, and we're going to put our little Velcro dot underneath there to hold it shut. All right. Now we need to measure to make sure, so that we know how big to make our papers. Now, if we did this correctly, we're going to measure. Come here, Mr. Pen. All right, now, if you don't want to cover the tab, then measure from here. If you do want to cover the tab and not just ink it, then measure from here, from the edge, over to here. And then when you cover it with paper, you can actually just cover it. If you do the paper on the same way on the other side, you just glue paper to paper and it covers it and makes it square. But you get that extra width. You see, that's why I left the tab on. So a lot of times I'll cover it on this end, but I want the tab on this end. I don't want to cover this tab. So when I do my measuring, I'll measure from here and leave the tab sticking out, and I'll just ink it. All right. So what we want to do is we want to cover our papers before we glue anything. You know, we don't want to glue our pockets until we cover it with our papers. Okay. So this is a half, 9 5/8 length. I did it backwards, I realize. This should be 6.5. We're going to make it a little bit shorter because we want to leave a little bit so that we can fold it. So let's call it 6 1/2 3/8 by 9 5/8. This is also going to be 9 5/8. And now from here, it's 5 3/4. We're going to take 1/8 of an inch off, so we have a 1/16 on either side. So that's going to be 2, 4, 9, or 5 5/8. Now, on this one, we're going to measure all the way out, and that's 5.5. We're going to take 1/8 off. Yeah, 5.5, and we're going to take 1/8 off. So that's 1, 2, 3, 5 3/8. By 9 5/8. Okay, so that's the size we're going to cut our papers. Then these are going to be 2 inches. Or they're going to be 6. This one's going to be 6 3/8 by 2. This one's going to be 5 3/8 by 2. We're not going to cover the inside. We only have to cover the outside. And I'll show you a little trick for that. All right, I'm going to put this on pause while I cut my papers. Oh, let me show you which ones I've picked first. Okay, I've decided to have a cardinal on either side. And then I'm going to put this one in the middle. And then I haven't decided on the pockets on the inside yet. That's still an unknown. Probably something solid, maybe construction paper. I don't know. I don't know how that would look. Maybe I'll take one of the bookmarks from the ephemera kit, or the ephemera for this kit, and use that if it's wide enough. I don't know. I haven't decided. These are things you have to think about. And then the cover, I originally was going to do this. Let me move these papers out of the way so I can close it. But I'm thinking about doing this and matching them up so that when it closes, you have this, and then when you close it, you have this. And then it kind of looks like it's all one deal, because it goes clear to here. The only thing is that it doesn't have this border. Let's see. Yeah, it wouldn't have it either way. Duh. And I don't really want to cut the roses off, do I? So I would want the roses in the middle. So I'm trying to decide if I want to do that. I think if I matched this from the center, I think it would just be too in your face. So I think I'm going to do this because there's a little less stuff. Okay? So I'm going to pause this and, I'm going to show you the one without the tabs. You have to ink. You have to ink everything, everywhere. front, back. Don't worry about the center. Remember, you're not going to see that. That's going to be covered with paper. You only have to cover the center on the inside. For these measurements here, the 4 1/4 by 9 5/8. Oops. The 5 3/8. So you see how much more space you get. For the 5 3/8 and the 9 5/8 by 9 5/8, you need 2 of those. One for the front, one for the back. And on the 5 5/8 and the 9 5/8, you need 2. You need 1, 2. But you only need the one for the inside because this is where we're going to glue. Okay? From here to here. Okay? So ink everything and cut your papers, and then we'll be back. All right? Okay. Now, I've got my folder all inked, and I am going to let this show, so I went ahead and inked that, and I've cut my papers for the inside. Now, there's a couple things I want to show you, and then the rest of it you'll be able to do yourself because it's very easy, and you'll know what to do when I tell you. You'll know what to do when I tell you what you can do. Anyway, never mind. I have glued this paper down because I wanted to show you that I'm going to cover this tab. So when you glue the cover on from the front, just glue it to this corner here. Just forget this tab is here. Just glue it to the other paper and glue it to the paper and glue it down to here. We did that on the inside of the envelope stack. We did that once, so I'm just telling you instead of showing you again because watching me sit here and glue papers is probably boring. Now remember, the middle part only has a paper on the inside, and this end here, I cut the paper 5 5/8 by 9 5/8. Oh, I should mention that this particular video will have a step-by-step PDF. So you'll have a printout that you can go by with the measurements and stuff. Okay? And so I cut this one so that this tab would show, because when it closes, I want this to be out. Looks like I'm going to have to trim this right here. So you'll have to keep an eye out and see when you go to close things whether you're going to have to trim these little pockets so that they don't bind up. Let me see if that's enough. Because once you get the paper on, you don't want the paper to hit it. There we go. All right. So this is going to close like this. And you won't see the tabs. All you'll see is your paper. Then this is going to close over it. And then you just take a Velcro dot and you stick it on here. And then you lay it down and you rub it. And then when you pull it apart, one side will be here and the other side will be stuck on here. I'm sure most of you have used Velcro before. All right. Then, once you get your papers on, all you have to do is glue it to the back of this. Just like that. Now, it's going to be a little bit bigger. So make sure that you center. Mine's not ready to glue, but I know you guys want to get these done for the holidays, so that's why I'm doing this one this way in this last video. So make sure that, oh, it looks like I missed a spot inking, because that will show. So you are going to have to ink around the glue side, because it is going to show. I forgot we made it a little bit bigger than the envelope stack. So you will have to ink around just in case for whatever shows. So go down a little bit. Go down a little ways. That festive berry is very festive. Did you see me try to dab off the lid? Okay. And then just double check it when you go to lay down. Now, the other thing you want to make sure is that you don't glue it on upside down. So if you stick a paper clip or something small that won't make any difference when you glue, like this, then you'll know your top, and then you can line it up and then glue it on. Make sure you have your tie glued on. Okay? Now, let me show you the rest of the inside real quick. If you want to, oh, I found this scrap piece of paper, and it is the exact length to fit on here. Now, I'm going to go ahead and glue it on as if this is all one wow. Actually, I want it a little bit shorter so I was just very surprised at how even it was without me measuring. Okay, so I'm going to glue it on as if this were all one big piece. Okay, now I'm not going to leave it just the red. What I'm going to do is take one of the scraps like this and put it on. Only I'm going to put part of it, obviously, on this to decorate, and then cut it, and then part of it on here. And then that way it's not just the plain red. So let's go ahead and do that. And then I can show you how to cut it apart. And there is a little corner that you'll have to trim right there. Okay? So let's put glue. I'm trying to decide. Probably easier this way. Now, we just want to glue, put the glue on the manila folder. Hold on, let me have a drink of coffee. I really wanted to get this done for you guys. So, in case you can't tell, I am definitely sick. So I think I get bonus points for that. So remember, it's not going to go all the way out because we want a little bit of the inking to show. Okay, so we've glued around our two sides because remember, we're going to have to cut it in the middle. And we're just going to glue it on. Just like that. Just like magic. I can't believe that scrap was the exact right size. That's why I tell you guys to save your scraps. Over and over and over. I know, I tell you over and over. You're so sick of it by now. Now you've probably guessed what I'm going to do. Is I'm going to trim it. If you've never seen me do this before, then you need to watch the photo album videos, because we do this a lot in those videos. Okay, I needed to get this little piece out of here before I could trim the other side. Or trim it close enough anyway. And now they're just like that. And then I'm going to, like I said, I'll take, not this exact piece, but I'll take two pieces, one for here and one for here. And then I may even put another smaller piece inside. I'm just going to decorate, basically. Now, once I get both papers glued, then I will glue my pockets up. And I'm just going to glue either side, obviously. Oh, I forgot to trim this little piece. I don't know what he's choking on in there, but... Or he's not choking. Don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting here letting my dog choke. He's just doing something. Okay, so now I've trimmed that little corner. All right, and I have glued this down. Now, we're going to make a notepad. Now, it's going to go here, even though it's going to cover my cardinal, but it's going to go here. I'm going to put it up kind of high. And then when we glue the pocket up, it's going to cover it. But it's going to be all right, because that way when you fold it to open it and close it, it doesn't flop out. Plus, it's a removable notepad, because this is a belly band. And I'm going to show you this. I'm just talking ahead of time to talk you through it. And that way they can replace the little pad of paper. Okay? So first of all, to make this little pad of paper, I just cut out a piece of cardstock. It could be anything. It could be some of this paper. Oh, I wanted to tell you, and I forgot. This paper, I accidentally ordered the 64 or 67 pound vellum finish, and I like it so much better than the regular cardstock. You just don't want to know. It feels so much better. It sounds better when you cut it. It doesn't get that raggedy kind of edge. Hardly at all. Every once in a while it will, and that means you need to change your blade, probably more so than the paper. But it's just as sturdy. It's the same paper. It's just got this finish on it that makes it feel like vellum. And it's amazing. And I just thought I'd tell you about it. Okay, back to what we're doing. A piece of cardstock, pieces of paper, the same length as the cardstock. Then you just take a piece of scrap, whatever, let's see. I don't have any small enough pieces. Okay, so you cut a piece of scrap that's twice as wide as what you want, and you just wrap it over the top. You just bend it. You put it here like this, and then you bend it over it like that, and then you staple it. That's all there is to making the notepad. Okay? You can make it as long or as short as you want. You can make it with more paper. Normally, I would make it with more paper, but that's all I had left of this. Then for the band, the easiest way to do this is to take a piece of scrap, stick it through here. Then, depending on the width of what you're putting it on, and depending on how far you want it to stick out on either side, center the notepad leaving the notepad here so that you know you don't glue over so far that you can't get your notepad in and out. Flip it over. See, that's not even. There we go. Flip it over. Take the lid off your glue. Pretend like I put mine back on mine. And just put a little bead of glue on either side. This makes it easier so that you know that that it's all centered and everything. Lay it where you want it. Make sure it's straight. You can tell by looking at the bottom of the notepad usually. That looks a little, there we go. That looks better. And glue it in. Whoops. Wait till the glue's dry before you move anything around. Okay. Give your glue a chance to dry, and then you'll be able to take your notepad in and out to use it, to change it out, or whatever you want to do. Then once you do that, you can put the glue on either side of your pocket. And then glue your pocket up. Okay? And that's it. On these, you just glue this one, you just glue the paper on. Then you repeat. You glue the pocket up. This one, you just glue the paper on. On the front, you do the exact same thing. You just glue the paper on here. You glue the paper on here. And then you put on the Velcro dot to hold it closed. Then you glue it on the back of here. Okay? Oh, you trim that little piece. And then it will look like this without the paper clip. And it will be massive awesomeness. And then you'll have your completed envelope stack with your altered manila folder. Okay, this is a little add-on to the end of the video that I decided I hadn't shown you enough. I forgot that this was just empty right here, and so I decided to put a pocket on, and I wanted to show you how I made this pocket like this. So I'm just going to take a scrap, well, I'm going to make a card out of that one. I just will take a scrap piece of paper and pretend like I want to make a diagonal cut pocket with it. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your pencil and you're going to mark how tall you want it to be. Let's mark it here. I know you can't see it. But then I want you to also go down and mark where you want this part right here to be. Okay? So right now we've marked how tall we want it to be. And now I want you to mark it where you want it to end. Just make a little mark. And then believe it or not, you can take... Now this mark at the top, you need to mark how wide you want the top to be. Like if you want it to be this wide. Then you take and put it on your paper cutter and you put the end of where you want it to be, the width. And then you take and you put it in there diagonal and you line it up with the mark at the bottom where you marked the height, okay, right here, where you marked here. And then you close your paper cutter, and then, oops, I don't think I have that lined up anymore. You gotta make sure that you keep them both lined up. And then you just cut it off. And then you cut off the point. And there you go. You've got a pocket just like this one. Now this one's a little taller at the bottom, but let me show you against something white. Okay, so here's my pocket, and here's the one that we just made. Okay, so that's very easy to make one of these pockets. I almost like this smaller one better. In fact, I think I may use it. Right, now I need to ink up the edges. Now, I'd like to say that I am a little upset because I forgot to ink my papers before I glued them on. I wrote Christmas list on there. My handwriting isn't that great, so now I'm kind of regretting doing that as well. But I've got my papers on and my pockets done here, except for the little decoration I'm going to do in the middle. And it closes like this. That's my front paper. And then this closes like this. And then there's a little clear Velcro dot. You can buy them at Amazon for a couple of bucks for 50 of them. And then it just closes just like that. Okay? Now I've taken my envelope stack and I've glued the tie on. I went ahead and decided to leave it all in one piece. It was just easier. So now we're going to take this and we're going to fold it over. And then we're going to take this and we're going to lay it on here. Make sure that everything is okay. Okay. You can't see me, but I'm looking around at it like a bird. Then we're going to take our glue. We're going to be brave. I want you to be brave. And you're going to put your glue. You're going to put your glue. Okay, here we go. You're going to put your glue around. You don't have to put it all the way to the edge because it's rounded. You need to put quite a bit though, because this is kind of heavy. And you may need to smoosh it around a little bit. And besides that, you can get high on the smell. Oh, alrighty. Now make sure we're right side up. And we're right side up. And then we're going to stand up so I can look straight down at it. I'll push it up just a little bit. And then just smoosh it down until it glues. Make sure none of your little strings are caught. And just glue it on there. And I'm going to edit out the other part of the video where I just kind of said, okay, glue it on there and, you know, you're done. Because that wasn't right. I shouldn't have done that. And so now you've got your stack. Now remember, you still have a bunch of stuff you have to go in here and fix. Okay? You've got to finish all your tags, where all your little paper clips are, so you can put them back on your magnet and actually have paper clips left. All right, so you're going to have to do all that. But your construction is done. You've made everything that goes in it. And mine doesn't want to quite close right, so I guess I'm going to have to close it like that. And then tie it. Okay. And then when you flip it over, you'll have a place to put your Christmas cards. Okay, so you flip it over, you open it up with the Velcro dot. When you open it here, we're going to have our pocket. Pretend like it's this one. So we can slide Christmas cards in there. And we open here and we can slide Christmas cards or something in here. It's not a very big pocket. You can run your fingers in there and kind of loosen it up a little bit. And then we've got our little pad of paper here. And if we want, we can take it out and we can use this pocket. Okay? So that's your whole entire project completed. And I hope you enjoyed this series of videos. And I hope you enjoyed making your envelope stack with a modified manila folder on the back. And there it goes. There you go. Now you're all done. Okay? This is Terry Lee saying goodbye, and I will see you in the next series of videos, and that'll be just a second for you and a day for me. Bye-bye.